Welcome to This Explainer. So, Keigo Higashino's masterpiece, The Devotion of Suspect X. It's a book so legendary, it literally won Japan's highest literary award and has been adapted to film in 3 different countries. Now, it's famous for being a brilliant mystery, right? But today, we're actually going to look right past the police work and the alibis. Instead, we're going to explore the profound psychological puzzle at the very heart of the story. We're going to examine love, loneliness, and what happens when one person decides their entire reason for living is placed inside another person.
Okay, let's just jump right in by looking at Ishigami's incredibly cold, mathematical view of his own life. A life has to be used for something. Before his neighbors Yasuko and her daughter Misato entered his world, Ishigami was a guy who felt absolutely no difference between being alive and, well, not being alive. Have you ever felt entirely expendable? Because Ishigami definitely did. He didn't value his own existence at all. He just viewed his life as an equation to be balanced, a resource that was merely meant to be spent. So when Yasuko needed saving, he didn't even hesitate to completely erase himself to become the solution to her problem.
But this brings us to the central thesis of our explainer today. We really have to peel back the layers of this romanticized ultimate sacrifice. Was Ishigami's devotion truly love, or was it something much darker and way more complicated?
Part 1, the calculus of sacrifice, peeling back the romantic illusion. To really understand this, we have to look at exactly how Ishigami justified erasing himself for Yasuko. He figured that because his life had zero meaning before her, sacrificing it to protect her was literally the only logical outcome. In his mind, he was providing a completely free gift of safety, expecting absolutely nothing in return. No romance, no money, no shared future, nothing. But the reality on the other side? Yasuko was suddenly crushed by an unpayable debt. It's this suffocating reality that severely restricts her freedom, even if that was never his intention. And Yasuko's terrifying realization hits so hard here. What happens if your life has meaning because I exist in a certain way? Think about that. When someone tells you that you are their sole reason to live, sure, it sounds beautiful in a movie, but in reality, it is terrifying. What happens if she changes? What if she falls in love with someone else? She realizes that being the absolute foundation of someone else's existence is a massive involuntary burden, a burden she never ever agreed to carry.
Part 2. When love becomes burden. The weight of an unpayable debt. You see, a perfect sacrifice, one that looks entirely selfless on paper, silently removes the receiver's agency. It creates an environment where the person being saved is actually no longer free. How do you refuse someone who asks for nothing? This is such a poignant question, and it perfectly captures the inescapable emotional trap Yasuko found herself locked inside. If a person says, hey, I did this for you, you owe me, you can reject them, right? You can call them selfish. But what are you supposed to do with a savior who destroys their own life for you and asks for absolutely nothing? You can never repay them. You can never refuse the gift. You are completely trapped by their generosity. Part 3. Devotion versus possession. Recontextualizing control. We usually think of possession as something loud, aggressive, and demanding. But based on Yasuko's experience, we have to redefine the concept of possession entirely. It wasn't some violent, explicit demand. Ishigami never once told her she belonged to him. Instead, it was an emotional cage built entirely out of guilt and obligation. By sacrificing everything, Ishigami unknowingly made the cost of Yasuko ever choosing a life without him completely unbearable. His devotion quietly mutated into possession, and the crazy part is, it happened without any cruel intent at all. When did I get to become part of the decision? Yasuko really points out the intense illusion of choice in Ishigami's flawlessly designed master plan here. Sure, she followed his instructions, but she did it because she was terrified and he offered a lifeline. Following instructions out of pure terror is not a mutual choice, is it? It's definitely not the same thing as standing beside someone as an equal and making a true partnership decision. And when he's challenged on this, Ishigami's defense is just chillingly simple. I did what was necessary. He desperately clung to his role as the brilliant protector who knew better than the person he was protecting. He made all the decisions because he honestly believed he was the only one capable of absorbing the cost. This brings us to the absolute emotional climax of Yasuko's argument. You loved me so much that you tried to protect me from being human. She desperately just wanted the right to make her own mistakes, to be afraid, to choose badly, to change her mind. By orchestrating everything so perfectly, Ishigami didn't just protect her from the police,
He tried to protect her from the messy, vulnerable reality of just being human. Part 4. The tragic alternative. What could have been? Now, we've gone deep into the first 3 topics of this incredible story, but there is so much more to unpack in the full source material. For instance, the source material explores this heartbreaking risk of alternative choices. Instead of performing a massive, life-altering sacrifice to be part of their lives, Ishigami could have just complained about work. He could have just asked for leftovers. It might be a little annoying, sure, but it's a whole lot less legally complicated than covering up a major crime. The full analysis actually dives deep into this exact paradox, why Ishigami found it so much easier to be a flawless savior with complete control rather than risk the vulnerability of simply needing someone and facing potential rejection. It also reveals the core tragedy of his miscalculation, exploring what it truly means when the brilliant physicist Yukawa suggests the message was simply, "You still want to be here." And it uncovers the devastating power of 3 simple words that could have changed absolutely everything for Ishigami and Yasuko. Ask to stay. Part 5. The unseen ending. Discover the rest of the story. The article leaves you with one final, deeply provocative question that completely redefines the ending. Did Yukawa betray his friend by revealing the truth? Or did he actually save him? Like I mentioned earlier, we only had time to deeply cover the first 3 topics of this fascinating breakdown today. To find the answers to those final tragic alternatives, to understand the incredibly complex nature of the friendship between Yukawa and Ishigami, and to read the rest of this amazing conversation, you have to visit imaginarytalks.com/devotion of suspect X love sacrifice analysis. I highly, highly recommend checking out the rest of this brilliant discussion over there. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll see you on the next explainer.